My name is Mary Middleton. I'm 71 years old. I live in Greenock. I've worked the past 10 years for a baker's. I was a bakery manager in Kilmacombe, and 17 years previously I worked in the National Semiconductor making microchips.
I'm Arlene Casimiro. I live in Greenock. I've always lived in Greenock. My life is just all about helping other people. Brought up my family and then went into care work.
My name's Thomas McKechnie. I live in Greenock. Stayed in England for a number of years. Came back to Greenock because I missed it.
My name's Ian Hamilton. I'm 76. Right, I'm a qualified engineer.
I'm Mary McHugh, 67, now retired after 45 years in the NHS. Married, 2 children, 2 grandchildren, 2 terriers. I fill my days very nicely. I go to an art club, a writer's club, and the garden takes up the rest of the time. So fairly busy, but I'm from Greenock and I've stayed in Greenock all my life.
My name is Jessie Kelly and I worked in the care sector for 18 years and I retired last year, and I've always enjoyed working in the care sector, and I'm married with a family and grandchildren.
I'm Margaret McConnell. I was working in a care home and I get paid off due to medical reasons. So I was really a wee bit depressed with everything getting paid off because I loved my job so much. I just love caring for old folk. It's the kind of job I've always liked. And then when I get paid off, my mother sadly took very ill, so I cared for her until she died in the Beatson with cancer. So that's why I started doing what I'm doing, because it got me out for a wee while and I love doing what I'm doing.
My name's Tam and I've been with Compassionate Inverclyde almost from the beginning when we heard about it. We heard about it in the Greenock Telegraph, this movement of common people trying to help other common people. And I was particularly drawn to the idea of it being a new start-up that's beneficial for the community in Inverclyde, and a blank page almost.
I'm Harriet and I was born and brought up in Greenock, and when I left school I joined the finance world and I did a lot of travelling, 35 years, and eventually I decided I wanted something more local with less travelling. So I took a total different career path and I joined the care world. And the care world, I noticed there was a need. There's quite a lot of lonely people out there. And when I retired last year, I decided that's the route I'll go down and look and see what's out there that I could volunteer. And I found Compassionate Inverclyde.
My name's William Weir. I come from Port Glasgow. I used to work as an IT consultant. As self-employed, I had a contract to service 30 sites within Scotland. So I used to travel around these sites, travelling up to 3,000 miles a week. I also had a pet shop in Port Glasgow and one in Greenock.
My name is Sandy Nimmo. I was born and bred and brought up in the East Coast, in a fishing town in the East Coast, and served my time as a joiner through there. I served my national service and I was in the RAF police for my national service. I then decided I preferred walking the streets instead of going back to the joinery. I travelled through to Greenock and joined the Greenock Police, where I served 30 years in the force. On leaving the force after my 30 years service, I then got involved in politics and I got elected as a councillor for Greenock, then Inverclyde Council, where I served for 14 years.
I fell ill in 2014 and basically on the advice of the doctor I gave up both the pet shops and the travelling around the country. At that time it was discovered I had a heart problem and also diabetes. Since then things have developed. I've now got kidney problems as well, so just one thing after another. They all are all interlinked anyway, you know, so the various illnesses. I then joined the local community council in Port Glasgow. I was quite involved in that, and that's where I heard about Compassionate Inverclyde.
It was a post on social media, on Facebook. A local lady had investigated this programme that initiated in America, and she thought it was such a good idea she could bring it to Inverclyde.
It was advertised in the Greenock Telegraph, and I think I was actually the first to apply for it.
Alison Bunce came to the meeting. She's the programme lead for Compassionate Inverclyde. She came along to the meeting and explained everything about it, and I'm the minutes secretary, so I was actually sitting writing down all the information, and I thought, oh, I like the sound of that, and I like the sound of that, and I like... So basically it was about 6 months after that I happened to be on Facebook, and there they were appealing for volunteers to help, and I thought, I'm going to give that a try. Quite fancy that.
It was my podiatrist that came to the house. She started talking about Compassionate Inverclyde. Her father had been in the Larkfield unit down in Greenock, and she'd been sitting with him because he was dying and had been offered the services of Compassionate Inverclyde. He died shortly afterwards, so she didn't need to use Compassionate Inverclyde, but she talked about it very warmly and enthusiastically. So after she'd left, onto the trusty Google, found Alison Bunce's name, and the rest really was history. I'd looked into various things to do after I retired, children's panel, or just assorted things, and nothing just hit the spot. But I went down to see Alison, that will be about 18 months ago now, at the hospice, and we chatted, and she signed me up, and it's the one thing I don't regret.
Since I came to Inverclyde or Greenock away all these years ago, 60 odd years ago, I just want to give something back. The folk are great through here, and I feel that I'm helping people who really need possibly some assistance.
I just like to make a difference in people's lives, and if I can make a difference in people's lives, whether it's a minute, whether it's an hour, whether it's a day or whatever, then if I can make that difference, then that's what matters.